Find people that you feel like, I would choose this person to go to war with. And if you can find those people, then it makes it really hard to fail.
I want to know your mindset.
How do I cultivate a sense of ownership within my team?
What would be your suggestions to replacing me?
This kind of situation only gets worse with time, not better. You can change this. Part of what I wish I had said that I didn't say.
I'm excited. Holy shit. You're the first person in my life to ever make me nervous.
Oh my God.
Hi.
Same.
I'm Leo Skeppy. Wait, really? No, because we messaged on Instagram for years, and you're the reason that I'm here. So I'm Leo Skeppy, and
Thank you.
I have done $2 million a year for the past couple of years,
That's
thanks
awesome.
to you. But I do social media. Well, I wanted to point out and say thank you for all of the battles you have to fight in private. And I want to know from you, what are your top tips for the battles you have to fight in private? Because you're very emotionally independent. And I admire you.
No. Okay, well, can you tell me how this relates to you also so I can have a little context?
I fired a lot of people. Didn't work. I'm in a phase. I'm going to have to rehire and hire people I haven't had before. So I'm at a point now where I've maxed as high as I can go with my threshold as a human being. I don't even have an editor. I do every fucking thing. Cocaine don't even help no more. When I say I'm at my limit, I've tried, babe. So I have to get some of this shit let off of myself so I can go higher. So that's kind of where I'm at now. But in this period of trying to onboard and hire, it's about to get really rough. I want to know your mindset around the resilience aspect.
Yeah, well, I would say one thing, which is is it really going to be that rough? Because one thing I never let myself do is take it too seriously. Because I'm like, you saving babies? You know, for real though, if somebody's at my desk and they're like, Layla, I'm so overwhelmed because I can't. And if I don't fix this with the portfolio company that they're going to, I'm like, oh, wait. And then they will make less money. And so will we. Oh my God. The world will end. We make rich people make less money. I'm sure everyone's going to be so sad. You know what I mean? And same for you. Oh my God, I'm going to make 1.5 million instead of 2 million a year. You know what I mean? So I think the first thing is I really don't take it too seriously. I fuck up all the time. I look like an idiot all the time. I sound like a fucking idiot right now on stage with Kleenex. You know, my nose is running.
I've done it.
I'm like, I don't give a shit, you know? And so I think one, just don't take it too seriously because it's if I zoom all the way out, I'm like, okay, so I'm upset because this person on my team told this person on my team that they don't like them. And then they went to this person and now there's drama and gossip. And I'm like, it's the end of the fucking world, right? And I feel like that some days. And I have to zoom out and be like, wow, I'm upset because adults, grown adults on my team are gossiping. I'm a speck of dust on this universe. And this is what I'm worried about right now. And so I think the first thing is just contextualizing it. I try really hard not to worry about the things that aren't going to kill me and aren't going to harm people that I love or people I'm trying to help. You know what I mean? Because that's all just noise and it's all going to go away. It's not going to matter in a year. So I think that's the first piece. I think the second piece with is understanding how to define resiliency, which is how quickly you can return to baseline. So resiliency is essentially
Gag.
your what?
That was good.
Okay, so
Whoa.
This is your emotional state, and then an event occurs, and then your emotional state goes here or goes here. And resiliency is just how quickly can you go back here to where you were prior. I just focus on the speed. I don't focus on not having a reaction. Someone can come in my office, they can tell me some really bad news, and I can be like, motherfucker. And it's in 2 seconds, my brain is like, motherfucker. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, we're going to fix it. Ain't no thing. Right. Within 60 seconds, I'm into mode. And so for me, it's I look at the very beginning of my business career. If something bad had happened, it might have taken me 3 weeks to regulate myself emotionally. I'm up thinking about it. I'm ruminating on it. I'm stressed about it. Now it's it takes me a few minutes or even seconds to regulate myself. And so I've measured my progress for resiliency just by what's the speed that I can get back to baseline.
What's your mindset for that couple seconds now? How do you get back to baseline?
Honestly?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have 2 routes I go, which is first option is I say one of 2 things will happen. Either I die, in which case I don't have to worry about this anymore. And then the other side, I just suffer emotionally, but I don't die. So I don't know if that's helpful, but it sounds dark, but it's what I think.
Kind of is.
Like
kind
it
of
actually
is.
is because I'm like, well, I can suffer emotionally. Like I've done that before. Like I've definitely suffered emotionally. What, some more emotional suffering? Bring it on, right? Like, or I'm like, die. Well, then I won't have to suffer emotionally. Maybe that'll be nice. I don't know, you know. But like, I mean, that's really where I go with it because it's like what most people like the resiliency. It's like it's all of this is just the root of experiential avoidance, which is like not wanting to experience our emotions, not wanting to feel a certain way. Why do people, most of the time I see people in their business, it's like they're ultimately trying to avoid something, and that's what's stopping them from growing their business. Avoid a possibility of something happening, avoid a possibility of someone judging them, a possibility of a catastrophe. And so if you can get past that, I think that that helps you become a lot more resilient.
Okay. Thank you.
Part of what I wish I had said that I didn't say, in any company, you can't, like, think about your employees, think about the people that work for you. You can't vent down, right? That's inappropriate. Like a boss venting down, inappropriate. Well, then if you're the one at the top of the company, where do you vent to? You know, for me personally, when I talk about my support system, I think of my executive assistant team. They are the only people that I will disclose my, like, really how I'm feeling to, or like I'll allow myself to have more of like an emotional reaction with, because they're there for me, not for a function in the team, a function of the company. And so I think that getting those key hires, like getting personal support for yourself in what I call like your nucleus, like the people who report to you and who are like your barrier in the company, you need to hire people that you'd be like, I would go to war with this fucker, because it feels like that a lot of the days. And if you feel like somebody doesn't have your back, they're not loyal, they don't have integrity, they don't uphold the same values, it's gonna get really tough because you're gonna feel like you have nobody to go to, nobody to talk to, and nobody sees reality or sees the problems the same way you do.
My name is Carson. I run a talent management business. We're kind of like a marketplace. So we sell to both creators who we represent, as well as brands who the creators do marketing for. We did 600 grand roughly in revenue last year, and I would like to be at 5 mil. I think that'd be pretty nice. And I would say what's constraining me is primarily key man and data. And I would say my key questions around this, there's really two parts to it. The first one is, within a team, how do I manage the balance between grace and accountability? And my second one is, how do I cultivate a sense of ownership within my team?
Yeah, those are good questions. Tell me who you're struggling with on your team.
So, I mean,
It's always one person.
one team member who's a partner, he runs the messaging department in the business that we run.
So he's a partner.
Yeah, he is a partner.
Does that mean he has equity in the business?
Yes.
Okay, so he's the person you're struggling with.
Primarily, yeah. Yeah, for that question, yes, him.
And you're trying to figure out how to motivate him to do more better work. Let's say you fast forward and you're making 50 million a year, and this person has 20% of your business, and you have to motivate them and you have to hold them accountable, and they're never living up to your standards. Are you okay with that?
No.
So your business is small right now. You're at
Sure.
a place where you can change this. And so like the reason why I'm going above the question is because, in my opinion, this kind of situation only gets worse with time, not better.
Sure.
There's barrels and there's ammunition. Barrels are people that you want to have equity. Barrels are people who can take something, they can create something out of nothing. They require little instruction, and all you need to do is keep giving them ammunition, and they keep firing and they keep building
Sure.
shit, right? And so anyone that has equity in a company should be a barrel. Ammunition is like you give them ammunition so they can get more reach, right? They can
Yeah.
multiply themselves through the ammunition. I'm fearful that you don't have a barrel that has
Sure.
quite a bit of equity in your business based on what you're telling me right now. Do you think that that sounds off?
This was right when I started my business. He was there from day one.
Yeah.
And he brought a ton of value then, but it's also
It
like,
changes quick.
yeah, it changes quick, and I didn't necessarily know what I was doing then when I was
Yeah.
first starting my business. So still learning.
Yeah, no, dude,
Sure.
this is totally fair. I've
Yeah,
come
yeah.
in like, it's one of our biggest businesses right now. Like, I came in and they had a guy, he had like 20% of revenue. And if
Yeah.
that business had kept that when they were doing a couple million a year, now
Sure.
they're doing 200 million a year, they would have been fucking like, what the hell is going
Yeah,
on?
yeah, for
You
sure.
know what I mean? And so I think this is my suggestion for you. I would consider, if he has what you're looking for, to be a real barrow in your business. Because I think that if anything, based on your demeanor and what you're expressing, you're probably not holding the standard high enough.
Yeah.
Because could you coach him? Yes. Could you hold him accountable? Yes. Should you have to do that for somebody that has that kind of equity in the business? No.
Sure.
My advice would be clean it up now. I would say what you could probably do is scope down his role. There's
Okay.
probably a different role that exists in the business that you could offer him.
Sure.
And that role comes with a different compensation plan. And if you don't do it now, it's going to have, you're going to have to do it later and have to pay the tax on it. So I would suggest doing it sooner.
If you're going to give somebody equity in your company, that person, when you say partner, that means equal in a way, which means that you don't need to motivate them, hold them accountable, manage them as you would somebody that comes into work for you that it's not getting equity. You know, I would never bring somebody into one of my businesses that wasn't intrinsically motivated and couldn't manage themselves or hold themselves accountable and give them equity in my company. This is something I've done in, like, I think almost every portfolio company that we have. I've had to go in and fix compensation because people have given away too much equity in the beginning, and then those people are no longer worth it. I like to call it like a tour of duty. They've done their tour of duty in the business, and they no longer are that valuable to the business anymore. And your business is worth more, and you need that equity to give to people who are valuable at that point in time.
Can I double click on one more thing?
You can double click.
Thank you. The other side of this was like the accountability piece. I think beyond just my relationship with him, I don't think I have a good framework or understanding of the best way to hold people accountable.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So if you really think about accountability, and this
Sure.
is for everybody in here, accountability is really you set an expectation, you tie a measurement to that expectation or a metric, and then you give someone feedback about their ability to hit or not hit that expectation. So I'll give you an example of one, right? So you have an easy one is for sales. So you have a sales quota, right? And so it's like, okay, I'm going to need for you to maintain a role here, you have to close 20 deals a month, right? That's what the business operates on, right? Anything below that would be negative net margin, whatever. So you say 20 deals a month. Great. Okay. So how do we measure that? Okay. Well, we're going to have reporting in our CRM, and you're going to have to log your sales every day. And then those two combined create a reporting structure. Then how do you create feedback for that structure? Well, I'm going to tie my CRM to Slack. It's going to ding in Slack every day whenever you get a sale. And then we're going to have a leaderboard. And that leaderboard is going to be, put up in the beginning of the day and the end of the day to remind people where they're sitting. So you can have systems that provide accountability, which I prefer. And then you also get to then narrate those systems, which is like, oh, hey, I saw the leaderboard. Like, how you
Yep.
feeling? I saw this little dip this week. Oh, hey, I said leaderboard. You're like, great fucking work, dude. You crushed it this week. Well, what happens when you don't have clear targets for people is that their attention gets diluted. So whatever we measure is where they're going to focus the most, especially if you measure it in a group setting. And so for you, it's like, can you get some sort of, whether it be a tool or they are self-measuring, right? Like reporting, self-reporting on a daily basis, what they're doing. If you can figure out what the output is of each person or role on a daily or weekly basis, and then you just remind them of that output
Sure.
as much as possible.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Ben Foskey, and I'm an executive confidence coach. We
cool.
do $1 million in revenue, and I'd like to do 10. And so I'm teaching other people how to be confidence coaches now. And so what's stopping me is from lead gen through the sales. So I've replaced myself with other coaches, so I don't do that as much anymore. So the fulfillment's good. And we have an assessment that we use to sell, but when I've tried to empower people to become the lead salesperson, it just has not worked. What would be your suggestions to replacing me? To me, it doesn't even feel like selling. My conversion is like 80+% on those calls, but other people do it and they're at like 5 or 10%. And it's very confusing to me.
Yeah. So that's because persuasion is stronger the more of an authority figure you are. So why am I up here and going to say the same thing to people that they probably ask people on my team? People see me as a stronger authority figure to a degree. And so they believe the answer coming from me more. It has nothing to do with your skill. Sorry. But like it has more to do with your authority than it does your skill. And that's why I think the fastest way to get good at sales, just become an authority. You don't even have to be good at sales. People just do what you say. Right. What this means is that for your sales process, what you need to be able to do is how do you build authority with the other people that are selling for you?
Which I've never did.
Right.
Right.
And so like, just like they're going through the funnel and they're seeing you have a couple different options, right? So I see it as like, either you could change some of how the funnel works and maybe put in like a short VSL from you, right? Going through the assessment, doing this, like you edifying the process itself, right? And giving more authority to the assessment. Or you find a way to implement authority into the sales process from the salesperson. So what's their background? Do they have credibility? Like, how do they become a coach? Like, how do you build authority within them? I personally, even though I think it's a little harder, I like the idea of edifying people on your team. Now, a lot of people don't like to do that because they're like, what if they leave? I'm like, well, what if they stay inside?
Think about it like this. If I call somebody and I'm like, hey, I want you to become a portfolio company, but you know what? I want you to talk to Jim. Jim actually sold his company for more money than I sold mine. He sold it for $100 million. And Jim was then the CFO of this company and then the this of this company. So what I've done is I am somebody who has authority. I have transferred my authority to Jim. The second is that we have said why they should listen to him. We've used his credibility and we've edified him. So an example of this is that, for my team, we run workshops. The people that are presenting, my team that works in the portfolio and works in the inner operations of the company, I've hired them all because they're very good at what they do and they have a lot of expertise. But if I don't tell people that are coming to attend that, they don't know. When I added in the credibility and authority piece by edifying everybody before they did their presentation, did their talk, did their piece of the workshop, their scores went up. So they might have been an 80 last week, and then we added in their credibility and they're 90 the next week. And it's simply because once you tell people, hey, you should listen to this person and here's why, they're more attuned to do that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi, Layla.
Hi.
My name's Lori. I sell tutoring to college students who want to go to medical school. We do $500,000 in revenue. I'd like to be at $1 million this year and then scale from there. Main thing that's stopping me is I am the magical 6-armed woman right now in the business. How do you go from being the person who's doing it all to the person who's managing people who are doing it when it's not really the area that you're necessarily that great at?
Yeah. Are you doing the things right now and you're looking to hire people to do the things you're not that good at?
Oh, I'm doing all the things. So other than the delivery, I am the show.
So you are doing them and you're also looking to bring people in to do them, but you don't know how to do them.
I mean, I guess I know how to do it because I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
But I
Just wanted to-
I feel like I don't necessarily, so I've tried before and hired really shitty people. And then I've hired okay people and managed them pretty shittily.
I would say this, like when you're bringing someone to do anything, if you're doing all those things right now, the first thing you have to think about is like, you want to demonstrate, you want to document, you want to duplicate. So like before you have when somebody comes in, no matter what you've done or haven't done, something's working right now. You're doing it and you feel like it's really shitty, but like you'd be surprised at like how good it is compared to some people going to come in because like you know what you need to do for your business and you have a lot more discretionary effort that you unlock. So what I'd say is anyone they bring in, like say you're doing the accounting right now, I don't know. You're going to bring them in. You're going to say, great, you're going to watch me do it. I want you to document how I'm doing it. And then I want to watch you do it the way I did it. And listen, I understand there's a lot of shit we could do different. We can talk about that later, but I need you to at least do what I'm fucking doing right now. That's the first thing is like, no matter the experience, no matter how much you don't know what you're doing, like you need them to at least do what you're doing and not deviate from that plan in the short term. That's the first thing. The second thing is I like the awareness of like, you're like, I'm not good at these things. Great. So if you can bring people in who are good at them, that's what we want to do. The reason for it is this. If you don't really know much about the function and you certainly don't know it well enough to teach it, then you want to bring in more experienced people than you did in the other areas.
Right.
Because if I have more proficiency in an area, I have more wiggle room as to who I hire because I have the ability to train them in that area more than I do for like, if I hired somebody to do like, I don't know, engineering, I'm fucked. I don't know how to I don't even Python, what the fuck, and nothing, fucking nothing. And so I'm like, listen, you need to be really fucking proficient because if you're ever stuck on anything, like please look the other way because I'm not helping you. If you're going to bring people in to help you, how much support can you provide them? And if it's like, okay, I actually can't, like, I can't help you get better at your job. I can't tell you when you're doing something technically incorrect, but I can tell you if you're misaligned with our culture, if you're misaligned with our values. Learning how to manage people who do something that you don't know how to do is the art of being able to sniff out bullshit. It's like common sense. When there are no results being produced, you need to investigate that and say like, that's, because at the end of the day, it's like, if whether they work 2 hours a day or they work 8 hours a day, like you want to focus on like, is the result occurring for the business that I need to have happen? Right. And then if that's not happening, then it's like, okay, that's reason to investigate. I think what you want to do ahead of time, if you don't know how to do the function, is define the result. So every job description I have, you can look on our website. I do a format where it's like role, responsibilities, results. So I want to know what are the results that they are responsible for. So if I'm hiring somebody to come in and say it's like run accounting. It's like, okay, deliver P&L by day 5 of every month, right? Like make sure all AR and ARP are taken care of by, end of day every day. And by Friday, the inboxes are cleared. But like, I would just go through and say like, what are the results I want to occur as a fact of hiring this person? And then I hold them accountable to those results with the expectation that they know that I can't help them how to get there. I'm like, listen, this needs to happen. No fucking idea how you're going to do it, but do you know how to do this? And they're like, yeah, I know how to do that. I've been doing that for 3 years. You're like, great. And I can never help you train to get better.
Awesome.
So to a degree, you have to understand everything enough to know if somebody is a low performer, fraudulent. You do need to know enough to that degree. So that's just what it means to be, I think, the CEO is like your head generalist of the company, essentially. Like, you know a lot about a lot is essentially where you get to eventually. And then at first, it's like you know a little about a lot, but eventually, as you've been doing it for a long time, you know a lot about a lot. If you don't know how to do a function and you're trying to hire somebody who can, interview 10 people and treat the interviews like research sessions. And what you'll see after you've done 10 interviews is there will be a common thread. There will be 3 to 5 things that every person says. And then those are the things that are most important that the person gets done that you do hire.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Of course.